record. Okay, so welcome everybody out to the April German gig meeting. And we're going to continue our discussions on various different topics in German research, utilizing the Family History Guide as our lesson plan. And today we're going to talk about maps and gazetteers. So I'm going to share my screen. Find there. Okay, so you all should be able to see the maps and gazetteers page, correct?
Not yet.
Okay, so in case you can't remember how we did that, we go to the Family History Guide, thefhguide.com, go over to countries, and in our case, we're Central Europe. And then we go down to Germany and we select Germany. And then we go along the top to find the maps and gazetteers page. And then we click on that and we're there. So just like all of the other pages on the Family History Guide that we've looked at in the past, you can go down and start to learn a little bit more about the Family History Guide's lessons on maps and gazetteers. The first lesson here is a short little video. This is a video that I did. It's part of another talk. So it starts out a little weird because it's linked to a talk that's previous to this, but you can watch the video. You can make it larger if you want, or you can go back down to the small version of it and then watch the video about utilizing maps to tell stories in your research. And then down below that, you see the Family Search Wiki, German maps page. And then you see some interactive maps for German Empire, 1871 to 1918. And there's two different links here. And then you see a general map of Germany. So I'm going to go to the first link here, the German Empire, 1871 to 1918. And you'll see it opens up a page and, it goes into the German genealogy page, but it goes right into the maps. And so the benefit here is that you can go into these maps and you can click on the state that you're interested in. So let's say, for example, you're working in Württemberg. You can just click on Württemberg. And now you're in the Württemberg German Empire genealogy page, and you can go in and do research within using these links. So you can see there's a lot of, there's emigration records. There's a whole series of emigration records. There's the Gazzateers and a variety of different other research tools that you can use. So, you can see the maps, you can click on them. If I want to go to Westphalia, I can click on Westphalia. And now I'm in the Westphalia page. And I can do
that.
What's that?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So these are all, in the Family Search Wiki. Go down a little further. There's another one that says explore the maps section of German websites for additional information. And if I click on that, it brings me to, again, German research website. And you can see that it brings me down to the maps section. And here are some links to various different websites. Now, some of these websites are broken. I'll just mention that to begin with, like this Ravenstein maps. If I click on this, it gives me an error message. Okay, but I can see it's in the digital collections of the Library of Wisconsin.edu. So this is University of Wisconsin's maps page. And if I want to, I can just get rid of the Ravenstein information, and now I can get to the digital library. And I can click in and I can type in the Ravenstein search, and then I end up with the atlas right there. So it's a little bit extra steps. What I'll end up doing is I will end up going in, selecting this web page, go back to here, and I will go in and I'll sign in once real quick here. Sign in. And now I can go to edit. And I can go into edit and I can find the maps here. And I can change this
You're mute.
link. So I'm going to edit the link. I'm going to paste it in here and I want to hit done. So now when I stop editing, I'm going to save my changes. And these are minor edits. Fix the web links, save changes.
Need this now.
Okay, so now I can go back down to maps. And if I click on that again, notice it works. So I just fixed it. Anybody can do that. Anybody can fix the links in the wiki if you want to. But here's the book. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to view this item. And I'm going to I can download it or I can do a full view. I'm just going to full view it. And now I can see the pages that are in this atlas. Now, since this is a book, it has all of this information up front. This information up front is, you know, the different towns. So I can find the town I'm looking for. And then this tells me what page and section of the map it's in. So you've got a lot of these pages. So I can go in, you know, look at multiple pages and keep on going until I get to the maps actually.
Speaker back there.
So I'm going to pull down until I get to an actual map. So now I'm in the maps down here. And you can see the maps show up. I'm going to zoom into this. And, you know, you have your codes over here to help you figure out what, you know, what block you're in, just like any other map. So, you know, there's A, B, C, D, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can zoom in on these maps so you can see what the area looked like at that point in time. And you can copy and paste and do whatever you want with these maps to pull them in. I can move around the map, you know, just drag the little box over to the location where I want to be. And now I can see another part of the map. So right there is Bremen. You know, so I can see there's Oldenburg. A lot of my family's from this general area here in Oldenburg. And, you know, you can see your different locations where your family might have been from. So this is, you know, a really good set of maps. It's very helpful in doing your research. But you can see there's other sets of maps in here also. And so here's a 1789 map of Pfalz. And if I click on that, I can look in the, you know, the different areas of the map. Notice this one doesn't zoom in very, very close. So it's not quite as good as the maps we were just looking at. So I'm going to go back over. You can see that there are, you know, another family search video here. This is 48 minutes. It talks about maps, Gazzateers, and towns of origin. Here's a wiki article about maps and Gazzateers. So if I click on that one, I'm right in there again on maps and Gazzateers, and I can read all about those sources in the Family Search Wiki. And again, I can utilize the links here to go to the web pages where this information is listed. You can see there's some listings here for Myers Gazetteer, the localities and the English spellings. So sometimes you may have a town that's spelled in English, and you know you want to look to see if it's got a different spelling in German. So like Lübeck here, this would be L-U with an umlaut, B-E-C-K. You know, so just in case you're looking for different ways that the towns may have been spelled, or the locations may have been spelled, I should say. And then there's things about, you know, what you can learn. Another video here. This is a little over an hour long video. There's a video down here that's 3 minutes long on Myers Gazetteer. So it's a quick introduction. And then we have some links to the Myers Gazetteer, historic Gazzateers, David Rumsey's map collection, German Atlas, and so on. So all of these are really good pages to look at. What I want to focus in on are a couple that I use more frequently than others. Of course, the first one is Myers Gazetteer. The Myers Gazetteer, which is myersgaz.org. And this is where you're going to put in your town that you know your ancestors came from. So, for example, some of my ancestors are from Oita. And if I click on that one, I can see that that's in Vecta in Oldenburg. And it's a rural community. And now I get the description that's in the Myers Gazetteer for this town. And then a better description, you know, what this means. So it tells me it's in volume 2, page 440. And it tells me there's 895 people living in that town at the time when this was written. So again, in the late 1700s. And then it tells me that it's a Landgemeinde, or a rural community. The level 1 shows that it's in Oldenburg. The Amtsbezirk for this is Vecta. So this is where you're going to find the general records, is in Vecta. And then it tells me that this Vecta is where the court district is located. It's also where the military command is located. The military command is Oldenburg. And then the civil registration office is Oita. So this gives me an idea of where I'm going to find my records. I see that it's located up here in northwestern Germany, and I can go right to the map and I can see the town Oita. There's where Vecta is right there. And I can see where ecclesiastical, I can see where the churches are. So in Oita, there was one Catholic parish. In Vecta, there was one Catholic parish and one Protestant church. In Luton, there was one Catholic parish that was about 2 miles away. So I can see, you know, the Jewish synagogues, the Protestant, the Catholic churches, and how far they were from Oita itself. So since my family were Catholic, I would assume that if they lived in Oita, they were going to the Catholic parish in Oita. But if they were Protestant, they would have been going to Vecta, more likely. So I'm going to go back to the map again, and you can zoom in on the map. You can see, you know, the church was located right here. You can see there's a windmill over there. You can see where all the houses were located generally, you know, in relationship, and then the other local towns. So it looks like there might have been a fort or something right here. There's a church here in Vecta, and there's the citadel, the walled section of the city here. And what you want to look at are what are the local towns in the area. So maybe some of your ancestors, you know, lived in Vecta, but then they may have come from Holzhausen or Luton or Ammerbusch, different areas in the general vicinity. So the next one is over here on matricula. And we talked about matricula when we talked about church records. So these are going to be the Catholic records. And if you click on the map, you can type in your town, Oita, and it's Oita, Vecta, Germany. And I can search there. And now this gives me the town of Oita. And you can see Vecta's down here. And I have a pin here for St. Marin, and then this is the pin for the town. So the Catholic church I'm looking for, I can find it on the map, and I can go right to St. Marianne, and I can see that the records here are available from 1653 to 2000. So a good extent for records. Of course, these are written in German, and as I've mentioned before, we can translate the page. We just click the German or the Google Chrome translate page, and it gets translated so we can see our baptismal records, our wedding records, our funeral records, and then various different historical entries, civil status registrations, funeral transcripts, and so on. So, you know, if you're looking for the baptism and birth records, you want to start here. If you're looking for the wedding records, the funeral records, and then you want to look at some of these civil registrations and these transcripts to see if there's any information there for your ancestors. But as I mentioned, the great thing is I can look at the map, and I'm going to go back to here, and I can see, what other churches the records are available for those other churches. And that'll help me, find records that my family may be associated with. And I can see the other towns. So, if I have people over here in Vestrup or Bakun, I can go right to those church town locations and do my research there. The other one I like to use are David Rumsey's maps. And you can go into the collection and, just see the different types of maps that are available, or you can go in and search the maps. Let's see if I can find, there's search the collection. There it is. And I type in Germany, we'll see a large number of German maps. Of course, many of these old maps are these bird's eye maps. And you've probably seen some of these doing US research also. We have the bird's eye view of the town. And so you can see, things that the artist felt were important. You can see the church, different structures that might be there, and different important buildings that might be in the town. So, this sort of map isn't as useful to find places, but it is useful just to, use as a graphic in one of your stories potentially. So you can, click on or copy this map and export it out so that you can use it to show what the area looked like where your ancestor came from. And I'm just going to go to the next map here. So again, another bird's eye sort of map. This one here gives you a little more detail about what the buildings are in this location. And you can see there's boats on the riverway, and get an idea of transportation. There's a covered bridge and so on. So I'm going to go back out. And then we also have, these other more realistic sort of maps that we can look at. This is an interesting one because it's written in Arabic. So this is a Prussian map written in Arabic. Okay, I didn't expect to see that. But you can see Muhammad Raif Effendi is the author of this, gives a time frame. This was done in 1804. And then it gives you a description of what's in this map so that you have that referenced information. So I'm going to go back out, and we can look at the various different maps here. And I'm just trying to find a really good one, and that's not like all of Europe. So what I'm going to try here is I'm going to try to see if I can find the town. And let's just see if something pulls up. Nothing. So we're going to try Vecta once. And we do get a couple maps. Okay. So I'm going to just click on this one. And we can see there's Oldenburg right there. And I'm just looking to see if I can find Vecta. There it is, right down there. So there's Vecta and there's Oita, and then the other towns. And we can see that this map was done 1825. Now, the interesting thing up here, we can see this in our view georeferencer. So if I click on that, this is going to overlay it directly onto Google Earth. And we should be able to compare it with the existing map of today. And we can zoom, we can fade in and fade out on the area. So let's move this up so we can see Vecta. We'll zoom in there. And you can see that according to this, there's Oita right there. But Vecta looks like it's called Petersburg in this map. And then we can go back to the historic map. So, there's Holtrup there. Holtrup on this map shows us over here. There's Luton. We have Wester Luton and Luton. We have Bergstrup. There's Bergstrup right here. So you can see the locations, zooming in and zooming out of this map. And we can go to, let's see, do we have the satellite image? So it doesn't look like we have a satellite image on this map particularly, but in some of the cases, you'll see the satellite image and you'll be able to zoom in and out and see the, landforms over top of what a satellite image looks like today. So David Rumsey Maps, a great collection of maps. How many of you have Google Earth on your computer?
I do.
Okay.
I think I do.
Let me know if you can see this, or I'm not, you might not be sharing it specifically. So let me load it up here. Can you see the Google Earth logo come up, or you still see the old map?
Your whole map.
Okay. So what I need to do is stop sharing, and then I'm going to reshare, and we'll share the Google Earth. Okay. So you see the Google Earth here, and if we zoom in, we can, see Europe here. And in Google Earth, we have the gallery. And here I can click on Rumsey's historical maps. And now these maps should show up. There they are, right there. And so I can click on these maps and see the information. But if I want to overlay it, I can just zoom in. And now I've overlaid it on the map itself. So I now have, this Google map overlaid over top of Google Earth. So the only thing I can't do here is I don't think I can do the fade in and fade out as easily as I could on the web page. But you can see, a distribution of the maps. And if you click on the maps, they will pop up and show you, you can now see those maps overlaid, geo-referenced onto the live map, the satellite image. So I just wanted to.
Is this the old map over the new map?
Yeah, so it puts the old map directly over top of the satellite image. So any of these little icons will pull up the old historic map so you can see it, in relationship to where it is currently, or, where it is on an existing map. But yeah, I'm not seeing the fade in and fade out.
Seeing what it was way back.
Let's see, I'm just looking here real quick to see if any of these. No. The other thing you can do is with Google Maps, you have this little clock up here, and I can zoom into an area. And let me see if I can find a town. There's a town here. Okay, so I'm zoomed into this town. Notice that the information up here goes from 1985 to 2020. And so I can go back and I can pick a map from 2007 and I can see what the satellite image looked like in 2007. A little blurry there. I can go back to 1985 and I can see what the map looked like then. So in this case here, you know, you can see all of the fields and things. And if I go up to more recent time, you can see some of the changes in the landscape. So, you know, are there new buildings like this industrial area over here? What did that look like back in 1985? So it looked like that was a field. What did it look like in 2007? So there it is. So you can see that sometime between 1985 and 2007 is when that feature was built. And you can see, you know, there's a bit this area right here. You know, you can see that the field has changed a little bit. You can see that there's some new buildings down here that have been added. So this allows you to get, you know, get a better view of the historical, you know, historical last 40, 50 years. But if I zoom out even further, like this mining area here, I can see, was that mine there in 1984? So it wasn't, there was a small mine. If I zoom out even further, I can now see in 1943, what did that area look like? And so it looks like we have some, you know, imagery here from 1943 that I can then compare to 1985. And I can see changes, you know, over that period of time. So, you know, there's that ability to look at areas. Of course, Google Earth has these nice 3D buildings that weren't there in 1935 or 1943. And I can turn those off. I can turn off the 3D buildings and now they're gone. But you see that was a field or something at that point in time. And now that whole area is industrial. And if I turn on the 3D buildings again, now I got the 3D buildings that I can look at on the landscape. So a variety of different things that you can do in here. You can also create your own maps. So I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to back over to the United States here. And I need to rotate this a little bit. So if I go in, I've created my own map here. So I've taken my own map and I've overlaid it on the landscape here. And I can modify this map and move it around and do whatever I want with it. But you can see that I've taken this plat map and it overlays on top of this. And let's see. And then I can put information in here. Like I'm going to click on this pin that I added here. So I've added a picture of the family. I've added the 1860 census record, and I can link right to that record on family search. And let's see if it shows you here. It's not loading right now, but it would load up that information. So, you know, I've created my own maps by overlaying features on top of those. And I have a whole instructional video on doing that, you know, making your own maps and adding your own features to it. So if you have any interest in learning more about that, I can provide you the links for those. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing that again. And so, you know, when you're looking at the maps, there's a lot of different maps that are available out there. It depends on what you're looking for. I use the Myers Gazetteer quite often because those are that late 1700s, early 1800s map. And it tells you where the churches are located, tells you if they're Catholic or Protestant. That then helps you determine whether or not you're going to be looking at matricula for Catholic church records. And using that map shows you where the churches are located in relationship to the towns. Or if you're using something like Archeon, which is the Protestant church records, and they don't have a map associated with that. So you have to know the regions, the districts, and you get that information from Myers Gazetteer. You go to Archeon and you put in the district that you're looking for, and then that's going to show you which churches are available in that record set. If you're looking for historic maps, the Ravenstein maps are really good. They're high quality, so you can zoom in and zoom out of those and find landmarks. If you're looking for geo-referenced maps, the Myers Gazetteer is good. So you can see what that area looks like today and what the area looked like historically based on those maps that are geo-referenced. And then, using Google Maps or Google Earth, you can create your own maps. You can overlay data sets. You can create spreadsheets and import those spreadsheets directly into Google Maps. And it imports them in and geolocates them. If you have an address, you put the address in as one of the fields, and it'll put the pins right on those addresses. So you can create all sorts of maps on your own. That'll help you analyze your own data. So utilizing the information on the Family History Guide, you have a whole series of maps there and references out to the Family Search Wiki, video information about how to utilize some of those resources. So again, it's going to be a good tool for you to, start your research, try to figure out where the referenced sites are, where you're going to look for information about the area that's of importance to you and your historical research, and then going out to those maps and utilizing the websites from that point. So anybody have any questions?
Sounds great, but don't know how to do it. Takes practice.
It takes practice. It takes looking for the right websites. I have a talk. It's on Roots Tech on mapping your ancestors or something. You can look in the speakers section and find my name in the speakers section. And you'll see that my talk last year was on maps. And that one provides a lot of resources beyond what I talked about today. A lot of resources on finding imagery, finding photographs that fit into the maps and how to utilize those sites. Things like Topotech and What Was There give you historical photographs for the sites that you're looking for in the maps. So, another useful resource there.
And you need to have a specific something or someone that you're looking for to really know, to really get into it.
Yeah, so if you have like specific towns where your ancestors are from, remember we started out last year, everybody gave me their towns that their ancestors are from. And then I put together that Google Earth map, or the Google Maps map with everybody's pins on it, because we don't have that, that poster while we're virtual. And so everybody should still have that link to those, to that map from last year, or, if you don't, we can post it. But I can even pull that up right now. Let me try to find that real quick here and get into it so you can see what we did with that. Just give me a second here. And my places, let's see. Now, of course, they've changed the map a little bit. And maps, German gig. Okay, so I'm going to go back out and I'm going to share the screen again. Okay, so this is the map that we developed from all of our families last year.
Okay.
You can see that everybody in the group has a specific color. So Bonnie's color is this olive green. And if I click on the olive greens, you can see this is, her location in Schermsheim. This is another location here in Altdorf and another one here in Gosweiler. You see all these blue ones up here. These are all mine, the different towns where my ancestors are from. And we can pick, the individuals, anybody here, and we can zoom in to where their pins are located. And so you can see their towns. So the way I did this was we just created a spreadsheet. We created a spreadsheet with the town's location, the researcher's location, and the surnames that they were researching. And this one doesn't show, oh, it does right there. So there's the surnames that they're researching. So any of
I
these,
guess we must not have been there.
yeah, so these are all of the people who gave me the information last year.
Yeah, we're not there.
Okay. Well, we can always add you.
Like a list of your places.
Verdau, Werdau. It's in Saxony.
Okay, so yeah, what I'd have to get is the surname that you're researching in that location and then the town. And all I have to do is add it to the spreadsheet and then it opens up right into the map. It's not difficult. So you can always email that to me. But you can see that, individuals tend to have specific locations. We've got a lot of people down here in the Southwest Baden-Württemberg region. Whoever the red person is here has a stretch of families here, but also a couple, in different locations. My family has a tendency to stay up in this area with a few down here and then a few down here. And these tend to be my wife's family down here in Baden-Württemberg area. So, it just gives us an idea of where we've got people. There's even some over here in Amsterdam. And, you can search and see if there's common surnames that other people might have. And the surnames I can find in the spreadsheet itself. So, okay, I'm going to stop sharing that. So that's just another example of how we can, utilize the maps to work together. How many people had pins in the
How
same
do
location?
we,
Yes, Bonnie.
how do we get in that?
Oh, let me get a copy here, I think. And go back out here and I'll go into the chat. You can try that link and let me know if that works.
I might need to get into the map.
I should try it now.
Yeah, just click on that link and see if it works.
Oh, where is it now?
It's in the chat. Just go down, pick up the chat button, or the chat icon. It should show up there.
Right there.
Anybody else trying it?
Yeah, here it is, right up here. It's up on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on your screen as to where the chat button is. It's down in, the chat function is on the bottom of my screen, but it opens in the right-hand side window.
Oh, messages down here.
This is the link right there. This is the chat. If you're out of the chat, please. Whoops. I don't
So
know.
when I click on it, it just makes it larger, but it's not going to tell me who these people are.
Let's see. Yeah, when I log in, it shows me all the pins.
This is
Yeah.
to show you the map.
And then if you click on the pins, you should get the information about.
Is that what you?
It's gonna disappear in a couple minutes.
Does it work?
No.
Mine is working.
What's that, Marilyn?
Mine works, yes.
Okay,
I
so you
get the
can-
name on the side when I hit the color, yeah.
yeah, okay.
Blue one
The-
I have is Simon, researcher Louise Novello, located in Germany. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Getting-
Mine also says researcher Lori Fleischer.
Well, the different one, maybe.
Yeah, so that's the green tabs.
They're all Lori's. Oh, maybe I got on the wrong color.
If you, yeah, if you.
Oh, yeah. Yep, there it is.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's the thing we did last year, as opposed to keeping the poster up to date. We were putting the data in that way. And so it's still there. Okay. Any other questions?
Now
Comments?
I'll pay more attention when you visit Wartenberg.
Yeah, Baden-Württemberg.
Yeah.
I have some there.
Hmm.
Okay, any other questions? So I hope you guys got a couple resources.
I'll
there.
get back.
Yeah, so I hope you got a couple resources there for some maps. You know, definitely look into the Family Search Wiki for more information there. We've been hitting that one pretty hard all year long because of all the resources that are available there. And you know, just go in and explore, learn a little bit more about the geography of the areas where your ancestors came from. You know, see if there's any, you know, if they were all farming communities, or maybe they were on canals or riverways, maybe they had some, you know, roadways or things that went through them that connected them to other locations. The other thing is to look at your ancestors in such a way that, you know, if you have this man who married this woman, and you have this town for the man and the woman's town is 40 miles away, is that realistic, you know, in that time frame? Would they have had that, you know, traveling back and forth that kind of distance? Or maybe there's an error. Maybe that name is, you know, there's a person in that one town with that name and somebody in another town with another name, with the same name. So make sure your information looks reasonable when you map it out. We've looked at many of these with my wife and I, where, you know, it looks like it's 90 miles away. Well, 90 miles away probably isn't a good match. There's probably something wrong there. And when I start doing the research, you find that person, there's somebody with the same name, born in the same year, you know, in another town, and they've gotten linked up and incorrectly, you know, linked together. So the maps can give you that kind of hint to make sure that you're being realistic. I was doing one the other day. It said, you know, the person was born in the United States and he was 3 years old in Scotland through a couple, you know, 3 years later. And then he was back in the United States. I'm like, do you really think that he was, you know, born in New York and then he went to Scotland when he was 3 and then he was back in New York when he was 10? Or is that possibly a different person that's in Scotland? So. Okay, anything else? I want you guys to spend some time this summer, you know, doing some research, getting out there and then finding some more records so we have something to talk about in the fall. But remember, next month we're doing the David Attride is going to talk about German archives, and I think it'll be interesting to see, you know, what he did while he was in Germany and how he found the records that he was looking for, and you know, just in case one of us gets to Germany next year.
That's May 12th.
I think it's May 12th. I have to look at my calendar to make sure, but it's taking a while to load up. Let's see, May 12th, yes. Okay. Well, I will stop recording